Diamonds, Dames, and Dads, Part 3. Midnight City. A glittering, flawed jewel nestled in the center of the universe's eye. Midnight City. The unspeakable promise of... Fuck, you are way too concussed for fancy prose. You've woken up in some pretty nasty places, and most of them were your own fault. Sticky bar floors, back alleys, blood-splattered hotel rooms, and in one particularly memorable incident, inside a coffin with 3 other guys, and only one of whom was actually a corpse. But you digress. And you could honestly stand to digress a whole lot more before you're forced to deal with the reality of your current happenstance. God knows your head hurts enough for a couple digressions. It stinks, like blood and shit and the residue of other various biological processes. And speaking of biological processes, you lean forward and vomit onto the cement. You hope you didn't vomit onto your shoes. You like your shoes. What? Just because you don't appear to have any bones or joints or internal organs doesn't mean you're always at 100%. Cut a guy a break. The only light is a single bare bulb swinging from the low ceiling. Still too bright in your opinion. What the fuck even happened to you? Your brain feels like you've been forcibly removed and then stapled back, but you try to remember. You see the glittering city, feel the cold wind on your face, a pair of fingers offering you a match. Right. You hooked up with some dandy and now you're up shit's creek. At least you aren't alone.
You doing okay there?
The guy doesn't sound much better off than you. At least he hasn't puked on his shoes. You tell him that honestly, you've been better. You squint against the pounding in your head and try to get the lay of the land. You're in a room, square, bare walls, cement floor. This is not the kind of room guys are liable to come out of once they go in, and from the expression on your new friend's face, he knows that as good as you do. In fact, you used to do a bit of work in these kinds of places yourself. Not professionally or anything like that. You aren't one of those maniacal yahoos who can't get the rocks off without sticking a pen into someone's fingernails, but your boss occasionally needed someone persuaded, and you could be damn persuasive. And speaking of your boss, before you can fall too far down into the dumps about it, you get an eyeful. A brackish, lukewarm eyeful as some mook tosses a bucket full of water at your head. You inhale some up your nose. Fuck that smarts. What was that for, asshole? He tells you to rise and shine. You tell him you're already awake. He says,
You don't look it, 'cause if you was awake, you'd be talking if you know what's good for you.
You ask, talking about what? He gives you a backhand to let you know he isn't impressed. You spit blood onto the floor. Let it go make friends with the other bodily fluids down there on the cement. Hey, that the best you got? The guy doesn't respond. He just hits you again. Besides you, your friend in the nice white hat draws in a breath. The guy asks if you're okay, quietly, like he thinks this son of a bitch isn't gonna hear. He tells you he's got your back. You give him an incredulous look. No offense, buddy, but while a guy who's being wailed on isn't really the best time for promise of fellowship. Let's talk later, huh? Okay, yes, you got it. You know he's there. You fucking see him. You've seen him the whole time, standing in the corner bold as brass, watching one of his toughs rough you up, acting like he hadn't just dropped you like a piece of garbage to tread underfoot. Like he hadn't gone and shacked up with the Midnight Crew's most dastardly and sworn enemy. That wasn't a dream, was it? That really was that snowman dame back there?
The elegant lady with the white gun?
Your friend grunts. Yeah, that definitely wasn't a dream. Huh. You thought for sure she was dead. Spades Slick has got his arms crossed, watching you with those cruel, steady eyes. You know those eyes. Those eyes are for the enemies.
Enemies?
Slick laughs.
Maybe you should talk about enemies, Droog. Seeing as how you got all buddy-buddy with one of those weird out-of-towners.
What the fuck? You mean this guy? You're hardly buddies, and you're pretty sure he's harmless. Bought you a drink, lit you a cigarette?
Yeah.
Your new friend says.
I don't know this cat at all. In fact, I have no idea what I'm even doing here.
Wait, what? The guy isn't looking at you. He's looking at Slick. Fine, whatever. You can't really blame him for it. He's got exactly no skin in this game. He might have agreed to come help shake down your old boss, but the offer definitely doesn't extend to getting tenderized in a moldy basement. So, whatever. This is why you work alone, because you never count on anybody but yourself. Slick pushes himself off the wall. You remember the first time you saw him, slinking up to you much the same way Snowman had on the roof and putting a knife to your throat. You've been working for some other small-time guy back then, doing wet work and bringing in cash for someone who truly didn't appreciate your skill set. At least, that's how Slick had put it to you. Slick's talking to your new friend. Something about speakeasies and fenestrated walls, but you sunk too deep into your pathetic reverie to take any of it in. Also, the fact that a guy has just rearranged your face, that might be a part of it. Whatever they're talking about, your old boss doesn't seem too pleased with it. His hand goes for his knife. Fuck, not again, not... Ah! You are almost too embarrassed to say that your old boss goes down like a sack of rocks. You shout at the guy to get his knife, before you remember he's just as captured as you are. Or maybe not, because a second later, his biceps bulge and the ropes fall from around his arms, like a roll of crepe paper. Fucking hell. Who is this guy? He grins.
Nobody important.
Get his knife, you advise. The guy cuts you free, and then he helps you to your feet. Let's get out of here.